Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Mondays with Michelle video. This week, we will explore the FamilySearch interactive parish maps of England. This website is more than a parish finder tool. Map overlays enable you to visualize parish, poor law union, and civil registration district boundaries in 1851. Let's get started. The particular app that I'm talking about is actually a separate website from the normal FamilySearch website. And I never remember what the address is. So what I usually do is I'll either search for it in Google. So here I typed maps space FamilySearch. And it's this entry here, historical maps FamilySearch. And if I click on it, it brings me to a screen that looks like this. The other way you can get to it easily is, and I'll just show you, just go to the FamilySearch website, so familysearch.org, and up top where it says the website address, just add a /MAPP. I believe the second P probably stands for parish, like map parish, but at least that's how I remember it. And that will also take you right to the website. So once you're on this screen, this is England jurisdictions 1851. So that's the base map, is the registration districts, all of the jurisdictions that were in effect as of that moment in time. And what you would do, the first step would be to type in a place name. So if we type in Malton and click search, you get a list of places, and you notice on the map, you see these numbered dots that correspond to the places listed. So in this case, we're seeing all the parishes in Malton or that are around that area. We also at the bottom have the option of looking at the Malton Poor Law Union or the Civil Registration District. But let's take a look at a particular parish. So if I click on either the name, New Malton, or the number of the dot, you notice on the map that item is now in red. And if I click on it, we zoom in to that particular parish area. And we get this information box popping up, and it will tell me about this parish. The useful information, it tells you when the records began for this parish. So the PR column says when parish registers started, and here is the bishop's transcripts. So the records are exist from 1600 on. It also tells you at the bottom here the non-Church of England denominations, which is really useful. Now, typically, what I like to do is I go to this Options tab, and there's a few useful things. You can list the contiguous parishes. You can also do a place search. So let's look at listing the neighboring parishes, because sometimes that's useful. If I know my ancestors were in this New Malton St. Leonard parish, but all of a sudden they disappear, it might be because they've moved or they've just decided to be part of a different parish. So seeing the neighboring parishes can help, because as some of the children in the family got married and moved away, they might be in a different parish. So here are my contiguous parishes. And as I move over each of these parishes, you'll notice the boundary of that parish gets highlighted. So here's the New Malton St. Michael. You can see the red dot. Old Malton, let me just close this information box and I'll shrink the map a bit so it's easier to see. So if I go to Old Malton, the red dot is, shrink it a bit more, there's the red dot. And you can see the Old Malton parish boundaries. It's quite a large parish. There's the New Malton, it's that teeny tiny little bit. And there's Norton. So again, if I go back to, let's click on our original one here. We've looked at listing the contiguous parishes. Often it's really handy to do a radius place search. So one of the things I was taught when I first started doing genealogy research was, when I thought I had found my ancestor, do a 5 or 10 mile radius search to make sure you're also checking all of the neighboring parishes. So let's do a 5 mile search. Just click go. What we now see on the left is a list of all the parishes within 5 miles of that dot that we had in the center, number 1, that we had clicked on. And you notice on the map, they've drawn a circle to show you that's 5 miles out from the center. And I'll just enlarge it a bit so that we see some separation. Now this list on the left, right now it's sorted by distance. I find, especially if the list is long, I like to sort the list alphabetically if I'm trying to determine if ancestors I've found in a particular parish, is it likely that they could be related to mine? And so I will be looking for the name of a parish. And again, as we hover over one of these entries, you'll see it turn red. So there's Rillington. And I'll have to, there's Scampston. And we might have to zoom in on some of these. And again, you can look at the details of one of them by clicking on them. So we've talked about the radius place search. We've talked about contiguous parishes. You can go directly to the Family History Library catalog and see what they have on a particular parish. However, I find sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't, because they are going to search based on the name that you have selected. So if you have selected an actual parish that has the name of the church, you might not find the entry recorded that way in their card catalog. If it is more the name of the town, then it's more likely you'll find something. Let's take a look at what they mean by jurisdictions. So if we take a look here on the jurisdictions tab, there are a number of different categories. One of the ones I like is civil registration. If I click on Malton, and actually I'm just going to reset. Let me just reset the map for a minute and let's go back and search again. And too many layers showing. So if I click on Civil Registration District, you notice all of the red boundaries are the civil registration districts. And if I want to list all the parishes in the Malton civil registration district. Maybe I've looked on the GRO and I see that my ancestor has a birth or a death in the Malton Civil Registration District, and I want to see what parishes that could have been in. Here's the list. And you can also list the other registration districts that are near. And that can be helpful, particularly if your ancestor was living right near the boundary of one of the registration districts. It can be really helpful to know where those neighboring districts are so that you can look to see, could the event have been registered in one of those other districts? Now, if we take a look back at our basic search, so we looked at registration districts. Another one that is interesting is the poor law boundaries. This shows the poor law. And on the list on the left, this is showing which layers of boundaries are displayed. So I could turn off the parish and the county and just leave the poor law so it's a little less busy. And this is showing me the boundaries of the poor law union, and you can compare them. So for example, there's the poor law boundary. If I now turn on civil registration and turn off the poor law, you'll notice there was a pretty tight correlation between the civil registration district in 1851 and the poor law union boundaries for this particular area. It's not always the case, but in this case, they were reasonably similar. So you can take a look at the different jurisdictions. You can play with the layers of the maps. And again, you can look at the diocese level. You could also say list all of the parishes in the Riddle Rural Deanery. There's a long list of them. One of them is Hovingham. So using these different jurisdictions, using these search options, and clicking on any of these items on the left allows you to navigate through the information and find out details about the records, about the coverage for that area. If we click on Hovingham, it will indicate where it is on the map. It will tell you where the records began, 1642, and Bishop's transcripts all the way back to 1598. Again, it's telling you the non-Church of England denomination. It will also give you that helpful jurisdiction information. So if you are looking at probate courts, it tells you which court would have the information. It tells you the county name, tells you civil registration district, all of those items that we've discussed. And again, you can go in and look at contiguous parishes, radius place searches. I'll show you what happens if we do choose Search the Family History Library Catalog. It takes you in to do a place search. And this is why if what you are selecting is a village or a town name, the place search will work. If what you have selected is a name that has the church attached to it, this place search won't find anything because you would have to search just on the town. In this case, because what we searched on was just Havingham, it's taking me right into the Havingham section of the card catalog, and I could click on any of these entries and look at what film numbers, what details they have. And it has opened this up in a separate tab. So I can just click back on the adjoining tab to be back in the map. See this little, it's kind of like an X, but half of the X is chopped off. That's the close option to close down that information box. Now, if I click the word map, I think right now I've confused the map with too many different items. Let's try that again. I do find if I've been doing a lot of radius searches, different layers of maps, it will get confused. And if that happens, you just reset the map up here and go back in. If I click this drop down, I'm seeing all of the same different layers that I have. If I click this layers tab on the left, and when you first go in, the default is usually going to be the county layer of the map. The minute you search, it's going to usually default to show parishes. If I go up here, as I said, you can see all those same layers that you can choose to apply to the map, even if you haven't specified anything in your search criteria. So what I'm now showing is all the poor law unions. I could show the province divisions. I could show the counties, and I could show the diocese maps. So you can display these different layers on your map. You can also, if I click on satellite, you can show satellite imagery with whichever layer you had selected overlaid. So I'm going to take it down to the poor law union. And you can then zoom in, just like you would on any map, to see the details. And let's pick an area that isn't just, hang on, let me back out a bit. Hello. Let's go to this area where we were focusing, where all of our little dots are. And if we zoom in, and we can see where the boundaries are for the poor law union, and we're actually drilling down to the street level. And because this is using Google Maps, if we take our little character and we drop him down near one of these dots, we're now into Google Street View images. And to get back, we just click that little arrow. And if I want to now go back to the regular map, I just click on map. So the only thing that you can't easily do on this app, they used to have the ability to print the information. There is no built-in print button, and you're limited in what you can do as far as printing and saving the map based on Google Maps terms and conditions, so you need to check that out. But I find I tend to use this more as an interactive online tool. I hope you enjoyed learning about these interactive parish maps. Don't forget to download the handout. You'll find the link in the video description at the bottom of your screen. Thanks for watching.